Good evening. This is All India Radio Kohima. I'm Jonas Yantan with Evening News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says new farm laws will usher in development of small and marginal farmers in the country. Informational Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar says no child deprived of education despite COVID-19 pandemic. Schools in Nagaland resumes for classes 6 and above. And over 58,12,000 people administered COVID-19 vaccines in the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asserted that the new farm laws will usher in development of the small and marginal farmers in the country. Replying today in the Rajya Sabha to the discussion on the motion of thanks on the President's address, Modi said the farm laws aim at fulfilling the aspirations of over 12 crore small and marginal farmers. Taking a sharp jibe at the opposition's demand of withdrawing the farm laws, Modi emphatically asserted that hindrances never help achieve development. He underscored that in the entire discussion on the motion of thanks on the President's address, none of the opposition members talked about the reason for the farmers' agitation. Modi said that not only the NDA government but also the earlier regimes had time and again advocated for reforms in the agri sector. The Prime Minister said it is natural to witness differences whenever some revolutionary reform is introduced. Informational Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar today said that no child was deprived of education despite the COVID-19 pandemic. Replying to a query in the Lok Sabha, Javadekar said India has shown resilience in the face of the pandemic and converted this crisis into an opportunity. The minister said the education system was intact and education was imparted online. He said the country now has 34 educational panels, 22 for higher education and 12 for school education. The minister said that there are tremendous activities on the Diksha platform where millions of lectures have been uploaded for the students. Replying to another question, the minister said many states have taken steps to reopen the schools and colleges. Javadekar said the government has given detailed directions to states for the same. Schools in Nagaland resumed today after 11 months of hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The schools were reopened with strict guidelines in place only for students of classes 6 and above functioning in the state. Principal Director of School Education, Shanavas C. said the attendance of schools is of voluntary basis. He said reopening of classes for lower grade students will take place only after the department is fully confident whether the students are safe and schools are taking all precautions from today's reopening of schools from classes 6 and above. While advising the school heads to schedule school activities strictly according to February 1 SOPs issued by the state government, Shanavas also asked the heads to ensure that all materials required for COVID-19 sanitation purposes are made available. The principal director further urged the students, teachers and parents to take all COVID-19 SOPs in the interest for the safety of all. The India-US joint military exercise Youth Appears 20 commenced today in Mahajan Field Firing Range of Bikaner district in Rajasthan. This is the 16th edition of annual bilateral joint exercise of both the armies. It will continue till the 21st of this month. The previous version of the joint exercise was held at Seattle in the United States. About 250 US and 250 Indian Army soldiers are participating in the exercise. Both the armies will share their war-related techniques, skills and experience with each other during this exercise. The exercise is one of the largest military training and defense cooperation efforts between India and the United States. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has proposed that minimum wages will apply to all categories of workers and they will all be covered by the Employees State Insurance Corporation. In her budget speech on last Monday, Sitharaman said through a portal the government will collect relevant information on the unorganized labour force, especially for migrant workers. The data on migrant workers collected through the portal will help formulate health, housing, skill, insurance and food schemes for them. The Finance Minister said the families of migrant workers will be allowed to ration under One Nation, One Ration. The government also proposes to conclude a process that began 20 years ago with the implementation of the 4 labour codes. This news comes to you from All India Radio, Kohima. A total of over 58,12,000 people have been administered COVID-19 vaccines in the country so far. Out of the total cumulative coverage, 53,17,760 are healthcare workers and 4,85,857 are frontline workers. India is now the third topmost country with the highest doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered after the USA and the UK. Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 recovery rate reached 97.20%. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 1,48,609, which comprises only 1.37% of the total positive cases. In Nagaland, 2 new cases of COVID-19 have been detected today, taking the total confirmed cases to 12,160. Kohima and Dimapur reported 1 each case from among the traced contacts. In addition, 11 patients have also recovered from the infection, which includes 9 from Kohima and 1 each from Dimapur and Twensang. The total recovered cases in the state is 11,837, while the number of active cases is 84. No COVID-19 deaths have been reported in the state so far for the last 3 consecutive weeks. So far, 78 persons have succumbed to the infection, while 10 deaths were of comorbid conditions and 151 cases have migrated to other states. Vaccination of COVID-19 for the frontline workers for Wokha and Mon districts began today. In Wokha, vaccination was carried out at SP Office, Deputy Commissioner's Office and Home Guards and Civil Defence Office. Deputy Commissioner and Chairman District Task Force for COVID-19 Wokha, Orentang Lota, was the first person to be administered with a COVID vaccine on the first day, including 113 frontline workers. After being inoculated, DC Wokha said the vaccine is safe and has no side effect and therefore appealed to all frontline workers to come forward and avail the vaccine. Tomorrow, the vaccination will be carried out at Pandari CHC, 7th NAB Hospital and NIPCO Healthcare Centre at Doyang. In Mon District, Deputy Commissioner Mon Thavasalanke was the first administrator in the district to be administered with a Covishield vaccine today. Till date, a total of 617 public healthcare workers from across Mon District have been administered with a Covishield vaccine. Meanwhile, the second phase of COVID vaccination drive will begin in Dimapur tomorrow from 10 a.m. onwards. 12,000 frontline workers have registered for the vaccination. Chief Medical Officer Dimapur said session sites with technical requirements will be set up in 2 locations, one at Commissioner Police Office Dimapur for the police personnel and the other at Urban Primary Health Centre, Duncan Buste, for the district administration. In cricket, chasing a victory target of 420 runs, India were 39 for the loss of 1 wicket in their second innings at the stumps on the 4th day of the first test match being played at M.A. Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai. Team India needs 381 more runs to win the test on a square Turner track on 5th and final day tomorrow. Earlier, England's second innings was wound up for 178 runs. And as the nation fights COVID-19 pandemic, let us all remember to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, wash hands frequently with soap and water, or use hand sanitizer, and follow social distancing norms. And now to end the news, here are the main points again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says new farm laws will usher in development of small and marginal farmers in the country. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar says no child deprived of education despite COVID-19 pandemic. Schools in Nagaland resumes for classes 6 and above. And over 58,12,000 people administered COVID-19 vaccines in the country. That is all we have in this evening news bulletin. Good night.